Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to From the Depths. Today, in episode 16, I'm going to be building a railgun. As you have seen maybe, I have removed the main gun, and that means I also had to do some sub-deck surgery. Because over here used to be the place where not only the turret lived, but also the AI. So the AI mainframe has been moved back quite a bit, and it now sits over here. It's quite large, larger than I need. But since I might be adding more detectors later, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to make sure I have a bit of a buffer. Now, I have experimented quite a bit with a railgun, and I'm not sure if they're worth it, but they can give you some really, really fast shells, which is nice. Now, what I'm going to do to ensure that the railgun can maneuver and turn safely is just remove these decoy launchers that I have on the side of the deck here. So these things will no longer be required. I just have to see. This is probably, yeah, that's the two. Okay. So remove these, remove the HCB, and replace that with metal. Metal, metal, and metal. Now, as you might have seen, I have this sort of housing, if you will. And that is one margin of safety, so that if I stick to building within this area, the turret will still be able to turn. Railguns can fire all sorts of different shells. After several hours of experimentation, this is the one that I'm going to run with. This is a shell that has 12 modules, so 3 4s, a bunch of railgun casings, and then a couple of solid warheads, 1 stabilizer fin body. It makes the shell a bit slower, but it also means that the shell is going to be more accurate. And then we top it off with a hollow point. Now the hollow point is going to, as it says, convert kinetic to impact damage. So this means that the shell hits the target and all of the impact damage gets transformed into actual damage. Which means that after an armor pierce of 37.1 points, I expect a thump damage of 40,937. This does mean that I'll need to have a draw of 101,000. So it's going to draw a lot of power. But thankfully that's what the RTGs are for. Building this turret, well, you can spend very, very long amounts of time on building just a turret, as I have figured out the hard way. Playing turret Tetris can just take forever. Building something that works, or that you're satisfied with, whether it's going to require 4-meter shell casing, or an 8-meter shell casing, or a 6. Sorry about the noise, I think that's the sonobuoys being dropped from the top of the deck. It can just take a really, really, really long time. Anyway, we're going to need a 6-meter shell rack, and I'm not expecting a high rate of fire on this gun. The rate of fire for this gun is not that important. The main reason for having it, the rate of fire, having the main gun, is to ensure that I can hit larger targets at distance and damage them. That's the whole plan. So the amount of autoloaders that I'm going to have is probably not that impressive. A couple of 6-meter clips on it. Now, one thing I found when I was researching the stuff for this episode is that everybody has a different opinion on what a good railgun makes. Some people think that a good railgun needs to have a certain rate of fire. Other people think that, no, rate of fire is not that important. You want to have sheer damage output. Then there are people who say, no, you know what, the rail draw is important to me. I want to make sure that my rail draw, so the amount of power that gets drawn to use the railgun itself, is not that high. Sure, there is something to be said for that as well. The point is, there is something to be said for every particular argument that you make, and on top of that, everybody is going to need a different kind of... Whoops. Oh, crap. Everybody is going to need a different type of railgun for their particular craft. Because some people might want a railgun that does really well against small objects, and that's capable of killing off targets really, really quickly, so long as they're made of wood, for example. Whereas other people go, nope, I want a gun that's capable of dishing out a ton of damage to highly armored targets. in which case sabot rounds might be your friend. So there are a lot of different opinions, and I am expecting a fair bit of pushback from people saying, oh, that's a terrible shell, that's a terrible gun system that you've built. Sure, feel free to, but then please also give me pointers about what can be done to make it better. What would you recommend that I change? What would you recommend that I build different, for example, when it comes to building the turret? Because just saying, oh my god, that thing is atrocious, is really not going to help anybody. Well, it might feel you, or it might make you feel better, i.e. superior. But aside from that, nobody cares. Now, I'm going to be first setting up these ammo clips. Then, I won't need cooling units, by the way, because these guns don't have any kind of cooling, or don't need any kind of cooling, since I'm not actually firing gunpowder. So there's no explosion in the gun, but they can have a massive amount of pushback. Like a seriously high amount of recoil. And that is something that I will have to keep an eye on. Now the gun is not going to be particularly aimed at targeting aerial units, because for that I have missiles. So I'm just going to go with a standard Omni mantlet, which still gives me a bit of elevation, but not that much. Now let's go with a couple of heavy barrels. And yes, this is going to be a fairly huge gun, because it means that there is more charge in the gun. The charge is built up by the railgun magnets, and these need to be attached to the side of the firing piece, and then go over here. They'll be attached to these things. These are the railgun magnets. Now, as you can see, probably, the gun is going to get really expensive really quickly. Because you need all of these parts, and I'm not even getting to the point where I need the chargers yet. Because that particularly is a point that really makes these things go skyrocket with their price. And in a way, it is more than just the parts of the railgun itself. Because there is one more thing that you need, and that is enough power to suffice or to ensure that this thing can charge. So that means you're also going to have to invest, and I already did it, but you're going to have to invest in some pretty significant amounts of power generation. But then again, suppose by the time that you're building a railgun like this, you already have a particularly high amount of firepower or energy generation power. No, I still do need that one, apparently. I do need that gauge increaser, although I can only also set them up here. And I can change some of these. No, the 5-way coolers. Now, I was preparing the episode a couple of days ago. Doing research on the railguns. I actually had the whole episode recorded. And then I thought, Jesus, no, that's terrible. I'm just going to do it all over again. So that meant that my tired brain went, you know what? You're not getting any sleep tonight, buddy. Because we're going to figure out how to best set up this turret. And I went, Jesus Christ, shut up. I want to sleep. And my brain went, yeah, that's kind of your issue, not mine. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to add 2 more loaders here. Here, and another solid ammo clip on top of that. That one is upside down. That's better. I'm really curious to see what the rate of fire is going to be. It's probably going to be a 5-6 second recharge. If that. Rate of fire, 5 rounds a minute rate of fire. 12 second recharge. Or reload. So that is quite long. The recoil for this particular shell is also significant. Because the recoil is 100,000. I believe it's about the same as the rail draw. If not exactly the same. So I'm going to have a lot of recoil absorbers here. Otherwise, the ship is going to start pushing itself away. And when it does that, it just means that the whole thing is going to get less and less and less accurate, which is not great. Let's see. I would like a slightly higher rate of fire than what I currently have. The belt-fed autoloaders are really not going to work that well, because they only take 1 meter shells. So we're going to just add another layer and try and get the rate of fire up to double. But the rate of fire for these guns is not just limited to the amount of autoloaders that you have. Because you're also going to be looking at how quickly can I charge up the shell or the magnets. Rate of fire is now 10 rounds a minute. I'm going to stick to that. That means I can fire every 6 seconds. Provided, and that's the big if, provided that I can actually charge the whole thing that fast and absorb all the recoil that fast. So there is still a fairly high amount of work to be done here. Let's see, I want to have another... Can I do that on the other side? Yes, I can put it here. Now we're going to come up to the interesting bits, because now I need to use the connectors to try and get as many magnets as possible. Or sorry, railgun chargers. Now the way that these things work, they charge the railgun. So you can slowly see the magnets already, or the magnets starting to spin. The faster you charge it, the faster you can fire. I'm going to need 100,000 to fire once. That's the point of this railgun. So I'm going to say the maximum draw is 100,000. And the maximum rate of fire is just, what was it, 10 rounds a minute? 9.9 rounds a minute. So I'm going to say 9.8. Although, alright, a bit of a cut in the video here, because in my brilliance I put down 9.8. But the point, the period, is the button that I used to start my recording. So I stopped my recording and figured it out a few minutes later. Anyway, I'm going to go for a 9.9 rounds a minute rate of fire. Whether I can get that, I very, very much doubt. It's probably going to be a no. Because while I have added a load of railgun chargers, it probably won't be enough to get up to 16,000 at all. If I want to achieve that 9.9 rounds a minute rate of fire, I'm going to need to charge this thing 16,424 points per second. I'm currently only at a charge of 6,000. So I'm not even close to where I need to be. And it is quite tricky to get both the recoil and the part of getting the recoil absorbed correct. So hopefully I can get to about half on both of the stats. Because the way that I've figured this gun is mostly going to be a weapon system that fires every once in a while. It's like a 500mm sniper rifle. It's quite large in that sense. And oh crap, this, of course this isn't going to work. It's a really, really large sniper rifle. Designed to deal damage at extreme ranges. And hopefully with that, quickly knock out a target. Although it's, well, it might prove tricky to do that in a very quick manner. But we'll see what I can do. Now this is where the Tetris comes into play. Because I'm trying to get both the railgun chargers in and still figure out where I can put my recoil absorbers. Because both of those are going to be required. So let's see, what am I at now? 7,200, 7,600, 8,000, 8,800. Another 6-way connector here, please. So far, I've already spent 70,000 on this one weapon system. That's how expensive it currently is. Give me another 6-way connector here. Railgun charger. I'm also thinking that I might take manual control of this weapon. Well, there is something to be said for letting the AI take control of it. Namely, that the AI usually knows that there are targets around much sooner than I do. Because they have all the detectors and I do not. So that really makes a case for making sure that this weapon gets handed off to the AI. 15,200. 16,400. Okay, we're 24, 24 charge per second off. Okay. Now, I need to ensure that I have a recoil absorption of 16,424 per second. I currently have 200. So there is something to be done. Quite a lot, in fact. This is really where you start to play railgun Tetris, or turret Tetris. Because good luck figuring this out. We're looking at 1640, so I'm at 10% only. Good lord. The part over here is probably going to be pretty impossible to use. But have another 4 up here. Or 2 4s like that. So for that I would need another 6-way connector. And another one here. And then 2 recoil absorbers 4 meters. Like that. 2600 per second. Then I can put a few more rail chargers over here and take them off somewhere else. Where they're not as required. Because if I can remove these two, that'd be great. Because then I can put another couple of 6-way connectors here. And put another really long recoil absorber over here. I can't quite make it an 8. But I'll take this. The charge is now sufficient. No, we're 200 off. Recoil is about a 1/4. So again, recoil absorbers. These things are also fairly expensive, but not as expensive per block, if you will. At 480 for a 6-meter block. Whereas for this one, you're paying 400 a pop. Recoil is now about half. Well, absorption, that is. Another 2. So effectively 4, because I'm building them in mirror mode. The other side of the turret also gets them. And if I build another one here, I should be able to throw in another recoil absorber on this side. Just going to make sure it doesn't stick out too far. And it doesn't. So that's good. Recoil absorption 16,424 required. Currently absorbing 12,680. Okay. The part here can also house another one. 14,120. And I believe the thing can still turn, the whole turret. Because I'm still sticking to within the box. I can add another one here. 15,560. I might actually be able to pull this off. Unfortunately, I don't really know of a good way to get another one over here. Short of just pulling a whole lot of connectors forward from here. Because once I have it here, I can put another couple of 4s like that. 16,520, we made it. Okay. So we have the absorption capability for this weapon. We only load 36 shells in total. The shell speed is a whopping 2,119 meters per second. The inaccuracy is only 0.15 degrees, so it is supposedly really, really accurate. And I can make that even better if I say that an amount of, or a percentage of energy used is going to give it an accuracy buff. Which would mean that the inaccuracy is going to be 0.1 to 0.03. But I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to get it to 0.1. So you're going to get 14% of the energy used as an accuracy buff. I also want to be able to fire it when it's only partially charged. And I suppose that this is about done. Take manual control of that one. And manual control of the APS system. Okay. And now you can see that the magnets are spinning. That's good. Now I just need to package this whole thing up in armor. Because if this thing blows up, that's about 100,000 down the drain. And that is not an exaggeration. That is actually 100,000, well, resources, supplies down the drain. So, gotta make sure that this thing can operate. Supposedly there is something... Yeah, there's a ship over there to my 7 o'clock. Alright, congratulations. You've just been nominated as a practice target. Let's see. How do I want to armor this thing up? Triangle corner, maybe. Do these things have a decent amount of health? 312. Those are transitions. No. Slopes? 3,000. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. This thing I cannot build on because that's the magnet. So I should be able to do it here. But not quite. Because that is also the point where the railgun has the mantlet. And I don't want to interfere with that too much. Now, this is just unfortunately going to be a few single blocks, I'm afraid. So I can build here but not there. I can build here but not the other part. And I cannot build there. So that's going to be part of the barbette. Unless I raise the turret up one more block. That might work. The reason why that I'm using heavy armor is if you compare heavy armor to just metal. Metal has 40 armor and 350 health. This block has 60 armor and 1250 health. So it is substantially more survivable when you get hit. And that's exactly what I want. Ah, crap. Cannot do that in combat. No, of course I can't. Okay, back to the ship itself. Because now I can have the barbette. Please, in mirror mode. And I can have the barbette be a little bit bigger. So it's going to be a 2x2. And then... these are not terribly survivable. But they do make it look better. At least that's my opinion. It's going to be a 3-meter beam here. And then a 4-meter there, right? Let's put that one in first. Yeah, there has to be one more block here. And then a slope. Slope. 3-meter block. Same here. Click. Click. Alright, give me control of weapon 1. Oh, hello. What are you then? What are you? And how would you like to be the target for my railgun? Shuriken. And behind me, there was something else. The shuriken is... how big? 10,000 materials big. Cost 6,610. And this one's 29,000 with a cost of 20,000. A ripper. Alright. And over here we also have a patchwork. Well, don't worry. There is plenty to go around. Let's try this one first. Crap, I'm running into something somewhere. Has to be one of the blocks that I just put down. Yeah. I fucked up somewhere. Just to see if it is the barbette. 'Cause if it Is it going to turn fully now? Yeah, it's the barbette, alright. Alright. Target 1, weapon 1, fire. APS shell. Don't fail me now, buddy. I spent the whole episode building this shell. I want this thing to devastate the target upon impact. And it looks like it might actually hit on the first shot. Holy shit! Yeah, that would do it. Look at that thing. This is exactly what I wanted from that shell. One shot, one kill. I can get used to this. I just need to fix that barbette thing. Holy shit. Now, which part of the barbette is it that's causing the issue? Because this turret only really has a neck sticking out of the deck. So as long as the neck can spin freely, the rest should be fine. And from here, the neck can indeed spin freely. Test it again. Weapon 1. That's a sonar buoy flying overboard. Wrong weapon slot selected, what do you mean? Hold on, there's another weapon that has weapon 1. Oh, by the way, I turned off the AI, the mainframe, because I wanted to see what the railgun could do as I was building it. So that's the reason why the entire weapon or the entire ship isn't firing. What is weapon 1? Is it those launchers? It's the gantry. Missile controller. No, that's weapon 2. You? Or these things? It's not this. Hello? Turret? You're not weapon... Oh, crap. I shouldn't be looking at the connectors. I should be looking at the turret itself. Sorry, no. For the missile controllers, that does work. Come to think of it. There is one weapon system that's being controlled by weapon 1 that shouldn't be. Or is there? No. Oh well, whatever. Let's make a bit of a move. I'm going to turn to port. I'm going to get another shell onto that target over there. Just to see if I can get a repeat performance. Once you're lucky, twice you're deadly. I know that's not quite how the saying goes, but here goes. Shell away. That looks like it might hit. Boom. Hope you weren't too fond of that part. That was 18,000 in, well, thump damage, I suppose that stands for. So now the railgun's going to have to charge a bit more. Although I should be able to fire again, provided I can load the shell fast enough. Shell away. What the hell is flopping out of the water there? Holy shit. I know that this is wood, so this is very, very vulnerable. But damn. I can get used to this. 500 meter shell, flying really, really quickly, just wrecking shit. Look at that. Oh, glorious. Glorious. Okay. Hold on. Oh, it's already too low. Or is that the other guy? I've been firing at the patchwork, I think? Yeah, it was definitely not the Ripper. These guys are slugging it out. Looks like the patchwork, or the Ripper is going to go down. The The patchwork is not. So patchwork. Here we go again. Aim and fire. You can see that the speed is slightly less. I think the railgun might not have been charged up entirely. That one just took out a large chunk of the underwater hull. Weapons not ready yet. Come on, I just want to finish this guy off with the railgun. Shell away. Looks like it's going to be a dead center hit. Oh crap, we missed because we went into the water. I have to aim just slightly higher. There is some more stuff moving around. What is that? The fuck are you? Can I hit that? Looks like it's carrying a couple of nukes on its nose. Okay, you're gonna have to go, buddy. I'm not getting you anywhere near my craft. I just don't know if I can hit something that fast. And particularly that small. So I might need to go for a different weapon system to deal with a small threat like that. Come on. 500mm shell. At just massive amounts of speed. Boom. That's most of the midship gone. I wonder when that thing is going to give up the ghost. Because it might soon, considering the amount of damage that it's taking. Can we hit this? Looks decent. Yes. Oh! Close. Really close. Okay, let me just finish this part up. Before I forget to do it. Does it spin well now? Yeah, it does. It's just not entirely evened out, it seems. I don't like that. I'm going to change that a bit so it has a larger footprint on the deck. Let's go with 2 3-meter beams. And then the slopes. So slope, slope. Oh crap, that's too large. 2-meter beam. It has to be 5 blocks long, not 6. And then the 2-meter here, here, oh. Here, come on. Spin, click. Hold on a minute. You can't do that, that's illegal. Oh, so close. Alright, free to fire. All weapons, weapons free. This thing is now getting engaged by pretty much everything that I have available. It's a harasser. Very cheap, very low-end craft, but could still be dangerous. Provided that it didn't immediately get exploded when that nuke went off. So yeah, that's him gone. Any other contenders? Or are we alone again? I think we might be alone, except for the ones that we have left on fairly low health in the back. So let's go back to 1x speed. Turn. By the way, someone was asking, is this ship ever going to get an actual superstructure? The answer is probably not, because why would I need one? A superstructure is usually where the crew lives. It's where various equipment is stored. I don't have crew, and I don't have much equipment. If I have a superstructure, it just makes me... Is it dead? It's dead. It just makes me a bigger target. Which I, for one, don't really see a reason for. Why would I want to be a bigger target? Yes, please. Get off. Dead. A 500mm sniper rifle. Because 50 cals are for weekend warriors. Alright. With that impressive display of firepower, I'm going to leave you guys. It's the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely will enjoy the performance out of this gun. Yes, it takes a hell of a lot of power. But I have a lot of power. And considering how quickly I can make kills, I can always get more RTGs. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you soon for another new episode.